It's Fans Corner. Welcome to it, and thank you so much for making time for us once again. And we are back in the South African domestic football after the FIFA international break. And what a historic moment we've just witnessed out in Bloemfontein at the Toyota Stadium. The Carling knockout final. Magesi FC knocking out Mamelodi Sundowns by 2-0. And before we go into the game and the results and the history that was made tonight, let's talk about the attendance out in the stadium. I mean, for a final, we expect every final. I mean, this is South Africa. We expect every final to be packed, a stadium to be packed. Neutral venue as it is, it doesn't matter. We expect a stadium to be packed in a final game. So that was a disappointing crowd. I didn't expect Bloemfontein to pull out that kind of a crowd. We know Bloemfontein turns out to pull out a serious, massive crowd, especially in big occasions. And this being a big occasion, I expected that the stadium would be more packed than that. And I know that the people will make jokes about this. I can't blame a specific team and say this team should have done this, should have packed the stadium and so on. Remember, in South Africa, usually, especially these days, you get a lot of municipalities and sometimes the province or even a city bidding to host a final. Okay, so if you are bidding to host a final, it means you are expecting to give us a full house. That's number one. That should not be. It should be non-negotiable. Actually, you should give us a massive crowd. I understand that we expect the teams as well, the supporters of the teams, to come out in numbers to fill up the stadium, but especially in South Africa where we bid for these kinds of things. We saw Gauteng bidding for cups finals last year, especially Panyaza being vocal about that. We saw Nelson Mandela, I think Moses Mabhida Stadium also bidding to host the final. So there are competitions between various provinces competing to host cup finals. So if you are going to bid to host the cup final and you are given the rights to host the cup final, your city has the duty to fill up that stadium, because we expect that there are fans of these teams everywhere in the country. So I can't really blame Mamelodi Sundowns or blame Magesi FC for not picking up the stadium, but I blame that particular city. But this being Bloemfontein, and we all have a soft spot for Bloemfontein, and we know what they are capable of doing. So I don't think we can make much noise about it, but it was in a good attendance. Getting into the game itself, what an amazing atmosphere that was generated at the stadium, regardless of the crowd attendance. But we didn't expect this. I think if you were to ask, many people would have expected Sundowns to win the game. Being a game of football, we know that anyone can win the game. So if you told, if I was to guess that Magesi would win the game, I'd probably think they would win in penalties or after extra time or anything. I wouldn't expect them to win in 90 minutes the way they did, but they did exactly that. But now getting into the game itself, I mean, if you look how they started the game, Magesi FC, they had a clear game plan. And that's what they went for. They executed the game plan. In the first half, they made it clear they're going to apply the low block. And it was a well-orchestrated low block. They stuck to the game plan, and that's exactly what they did. And they did what the coach told them to do. They stuck it through. Even when they were trailing by 1 goal. Remember, Sundowns scored, I think, in the 36th or 35th minute. We saw, and the other thing with Magesi, the way they other than the fact that they orchestrated a well-organized low block, the other thing that they did differently, which sometimes teams don't do it so well, is that when you apply a low block, when you get the ball, many teams tend to give it away. I mean, they apply the low block, they say, we're just going to defend. But with Magesi, what they did, whenever they won the ball back, they didn't just kick it away, because we've seen teams do that a lot. They would hold on to it a little bit, allow 1 or 2 players up front to cover some ground, and then play the ball to that person, and that person will hold on to the ball, either a striker or a winger. They held on to the ball for sometimes they held on to the ball when you didn't expect them to do so. And of course, this being Mamelodi Sundowns and the kind of power that they have and the strength that they have on the ball and off the ball, obviously there would be a lot of turnaround balls there, but I think Magesi did the game plan worked perfectly for them. We expected. I think many of us expected them to do that. I didn't expect them to go pound for pound with Mamelodi Sundowns. and because this is not how they usually play, Magesi, we've seen them in other games. They don't really play like this all the time. They had to do this in this game because it was necessary. This is Sundowns, you understand? And Sundowns being a team that faces these kinds of teams a lot of times, I mean, you'd expect them that they'll be able to find a way to break that defense. But they kept a very good shape, Magesi. When off the ball, they played well without the ball. Remember, I spoke about this, I think 2-3 games ago. I think it was a game after Chiefs when I said Chiefs can't play without the ball, and I've seen teams that can. I think I may have mentioned Clinton Larsen in that video as well. I could be wrong, but because I've seen how Clinton Larsen can play without the ball, and that's exactly what they did against Sundowns. They can play without the ball. They allow Sundowns to have the ball. Have the ball in areas where you can't hit us. As soon as you get into the final third where you can hit us, they press you. They make it difficult. But it's also a difficult one to pull through because Sundowns has a lot of gifted and skillful players who can break any press at any time. But they did it so well, Magesi, and I have to give them credit for that. Especially in the first half, man, where Sundowns was coming in numbers, attack after attack. And the other thing with Sundowns, man, Sundowns has a lot of players who are very accurate on the shot. There were so many shots at goals on target, and we have to give Chipezeze a well-earned man of the match. There were so many shots at goals on target by Mamelodi Sundowns, more than 10 if I'm not mistaken. And Chipezeze, one of the things that I give, other than the fact that he knows how to manage the game when they are not losing, either they are drawing a game or they are winning a game or they are leading a game. I think the other than wasting time, I think the other thing that he knows how to do is to position himself. He always finds himself in a very good position to a point where you even ask yourself, why did the attacker shoot the ball straight to the keeper? I think sometimes it's because of the way Chipezeze knows how to position himself. We've seen him for many seasons, other than now at Magesi. We've seen him even in his previous teams where he played, and he did an amazing job. I mean, he earned that man of the match. We obviously, as soon as Magesi took a lead, even as soon after equalizing, we knew that's what he was going to do. He was going to manage the game the way he knows how to manage the game. Well positioned as well. Brilliant performance from Elvis Chipezeze. Have to give it to him. But the whole team, the whole Magesi team did so well. Sundowns, they did what they do all the time. Sundowns are very patient with teams like this. They're very patient. They keep on knocking. They know eventually they'll find an opportunity to score. That's what happened in the first half. They kept on knocking, and in the 35th minute, they got a chance and they scored. And that's exactly what they usually do. They face these kinds of teams a lot of times, especially in South Africa. It's only in CAF where we don't see this a lot. We don't see them experiencing this kind of teams a lot in the Champions League. Understandably, they're facing the best of the best. So you don't expect every team to respect you. Okay, but in South Africa they face a lot of these low blocks, so they've gotten used to maneuvering around that and finding a way into breaking these low blocks. But it was a different one today with Clinton Larsen. We have to give him his flowers, give credit to him. An amazing game plan, execution, and keeping shape and discipline. You see, the discipline as well came through for Magesi. They were disciplined. They were prepared to take the pain, whatever Sundowns throws at them. They were prepared to take it, and that's what they did, and it paid off. They won the game, became the first team to win the what we call it the League Cup in generic words. In South Africa after being newly promoted. A historic moment for Clinton Larsen. Clinton Larsen is not new to this kind of success. Remember, even during his time at Bloemfontein Celtic, I think he did win a trophy with Bloemfontein Celtic. So I guess Bloemfontein is a lucky space for him, either playing in Bloemfontein or coaching in Bloemfontein. So it happened. The luck followed him in Bloemfontein tonight. The Sundowns, I don't know whether it's because they're not used to defending a lot, because they don't face a lot of attacks, But the way they defended the two set pieces tonight was embarrassing, to say the least. Was disappointing. Let's say disappointing. Because I think the two goals were quite similar. Chirambandare being the common denominator in both games. On the left side, putting in a cross, it goes through. They allow the cross to come through. and there's a person at the end of the cross. Boom, it's a goal. Equalizer. And I think Clinton Larsen, when they were trailing, remember, we all expected Sundowns. The game was before, the odds were with Sundowns. We expected Sundowns to win the game. When they go to the game, the pressure is with them, which is something they're used to. You know, it's nothing new. Which is why I keep on giving Magesi FC more credit than I can give under ordinary circumstances, because Magesi FC could have played the occasion. This is the first time they're in a final at the top a professional football in South Africa. It's the first time they're in a final of a cup tournament, and they could have easily fell for the trap of playing the occasion instead of playing the game. And they played the game, kept the game plan, kept the shape, allowed Sundowns to have the ball. When they had the ball, they did what needed to be done, and boom, they won their first cup competition in top flight football in South Africa. And congratulations to them. But Sundowns, the defense, they let them down, really. I don't know whether it's because they are not used to, but it was quite, I mean, if they saw the mistake in the first with the first goal, they should have expected Chirambandara to do the same thing as he did even in the second goal. Okay, but the first goal, I have to give, I think, Coach Clinton Larsen more credit, because I think you could see in the second half, when Magesi came back in the second half, they played differently. I think maybe their plan was that in the first 5-10 minutes, let's go try to find an equalizer and try to push the game to extra time. If we get the equalizer in the first 5-10 minutes, push the game to extra time, which will then favor them more now, because Sundowns will be more frustrated, because these are taking teams that are expected to win. They get frustrated as they face a low block that they are failing to break. So I think that their game plan would have been to, let's get an equalizer and then manage the game until as far as we can go. And they got the equalizer, and instead of just managing the game, they also tried to create chances. They didn't create much, but what they created worked for them, and they took their chance, and boom, here we are now with Clinton Larsen with the trophy, a gold medal around his neck, and all his players around his. There's a lot of players there. I heard him in the interview, post-match interview, saying we've resurrected a lot of careers at Magesi. That's true. There's a lot of players that we've seen in other teams before. They've resurrected them, and then now it's like even Chipezeze himself. We have forgotten about him for some time, but here we are now. We're talking about him winning 4 man of the match performances, 4 consecutive games winning man of the match, 400,000 richer before getting the bonuses of winning the trophy. Man, it's just probably gonna be a half a million in just 4 games. What a game! What a rewarding game it has been for him this season. Otherwise, congratulations to Magesi FC, historic moment for them, and tough luck to Mamelodi Sundowns. They still had a great game, they still had a good game. It's unfortunate that when it mattered the most, they couldn't convert their chances, but also thank you for making time for us. Let us know what you think about the game in the comment section. Otherwise, thank you so much for your time. This has been Fans Corner. We meet again in the next one.